Hello, and welcome to Shrink, the podcast for the mind. I'm Philippe, and I talk to the people who want to have a better understanding of their issues with weight and body image. In today's podcast, I want to speak about loneliness. I've seen along the years how it did affect many of my clients. One of the things that surprised me is how invisible loneliness can be. It affects a lot of people, very often despite their appearances. Maybe you or some of your friends. We live in a world which is hyper-connected. We have numerous Facebook friends, Instagram followers, or even potential lovers on dating apps. Still, I feel like there is a massive sense of loneliness in our Eastern societies. As if the more we interact with others online, the more remote we can feel from them in real life. Not everyone, of course, is affected by this. Some of us are part of an active community or have a family which is part of their daily life and in which communication is important. Whereas before we had pretty much the same partner and friends during all our lives, things have changed nowadays. We usually have more than one long-term partner or more than one marriage. Many people experience different careers, sometimes in another town or country, and it can feel to them as if they're not rooted anymore. And the people who are close to our heart are often part of these roots. That can create a sense of loneliness. I mean a sense, or in fact a real loneliness, and all the anxiety that comes with it. It's not unusual to hear from my clients that they feel empty. And that's of course not a nice feeling. We may feel that way because we miss the contact, the warmth, the laughter, the touch, the face-to-face conversations from our close ones. Yes, we may have a social life, but it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't nourish us like when we're actually spending time with our intimate friends and our family, when we feel like it's safe to be authentic. And of course, the pandemic we're experiencing has exacerbated that for most of us. That's a difficult word for me, exacerbated. So what does food have to do with this? The comfort of food and drink acts not only as an anesthetic, but can also become a companion to rely on. A familiar friend that's always there for us, no matter what. We maybe feel like everyone around us has abandoned us, let us down, or disappointed us in some way. But the sensation of eating fish and chips, opening a box of chocolates, or drinking a fine wine never disappoints. So actually, we don't eat because we're hungry. We eat to have some company. But then, by being overweight, we may feel like even more distanced from others. It's like we're slowly closing ourselves to the world. There is also a sense of shame sometimes. We feel like we're having a secret life of our own, one that we're ashamed of. We do all this unconsciously, of course. It's not like we have a plan. So how do we change that negative and sometimes dangerous process? How do we unlock ourselves from our body and open up to others again? I would say that once you have acknowledged that you use food as a form of company, you should look back and see how you got there. Have you always felt lonely, even as a child? Or is it something that has scribbled in your life? Is it an event in your life that has changed your relationship to others and then to food? Unresolved traumas are very often the source of loneliness. The fear of being hurt, betrayed, or abandoned again may stop you from getting close to others, from opening up and be intimate. Ideally, you should address these old wounds with a therapist. That can take a bit of time though, so I would recommend to slowly, at your pace, reopen yourself to others. Communication will be key, putting our shame aside and reaching out to friends and family. There might be some disappointments along the way. We may feel rejected, misunderstood, or unheard. Remember that it can be that the ones you're reaching out to are maybe not in a good place either, and therefore not receptive. But in my opinion, there is a far bigger risk in remaining in that state of loneliness than to avoid that eventual rejection. And that rejection may only be temporary. You would be surprised to know that What you're experiencing is far more common than you think, even if your friends seem to live the perfect life from what you see on their social media. So come on, reach out, open up, speak to others, take the risk. You'll see that it's worth it.